Welcome to the Careers by Jen podcast, episode 211. This time on the podcast, the Magic of Mentorship. My favorite mentor magic is when you mix them with Coke and they explode.
You're listening to the Careers by Jen podcast with me, Jen Swanson, the podcast that helps you to get the job, love your work, and advance your career. A question I often ask clients that I coach is whether or not they have a mentor. Because if you are working on finding a new job or advancing in an organization or a company that you already work for, having access to a mentor can be of enormous benefit to your career. In fact, I am consistently astounded at how few people make use of a mentor. Well, today I'm going to talk about what exactly mentorship is and why it can help you tremendously in your career. How to find a mentor, how to become one, if you have that to offer. I'm going to start with a really clear description of what a mentor is and why I think you need one right after this.
Are you procrastinating? Do you want to start a job search but aren't quite sure where to begin? Is it all just a little overwhelming? At Careers by Jen, we have a 5-day Jumpstart Your Job Search Challenge to help you get unstuck and move toward finding your dream job. Every day for 5 days, you'll receive an email to your inbox that asks you to complete one task. Every task you complete moves you closer toward your goal. The best part about this challenge is that it's absolutely free. Come over to careersbyjen.com and you'll see the 5-day Jumpstart Your Job Search Challenge on the right-hand side of the screen. Click on the image of Jen, sign up with your email address, and you'll be 5 days closer to reaching your goal. Why wait when you can get busy? Visit careersbyjen.com after this podcast.
What is a mentor? Exactly. Well, it's kind of simple, really. A mentor is someone who is more experienced than you are in your particular line of work, and that's the really clear and simple definition. But to go on a bit more, often a mentor is older, not always, and a good or a great mentor is someone who is able to be straight up and real with advice and guidance for you, not someone who's going to sugarcoat things or downplay things, but who instead will offer an honest evaluation and a good, clear amount of feedback from an experienced perspective. So why do I think you need one? Well, there are lots of reasons, and I'm going to name several of them for you now. And some of these are obvious, perhaps, and others maybe not so much. But why do you need a mentor? I have 7 reasons that I think are valid. So the first one is that a mentor saves time. Here you have an experienced person who has been there, done that, and can offer you their wisdom and their best practices. Someone who can teach you tricks of the trade, shortcuts, ways to do things that they have learned and discovered and figured out that might be really helpful shortcuts. And if you can save time and be more efficient faster, then why not do that? You will get to where you want to be more quickly if you are willing to learn from someone who has done it before. And sometimes there are things that only an experienced person can tell you, because if you're brand new to something, figuring it out from a manual or trying to reinvent the wheel on your own is just inefficient in so many ways. So having someone help you and let you know what they do can at least give you the foundation for you to develop your own system or your own way of doing things. But it can save you a whole lot of time. The second thing is that having a mentor can prevent mistakes. Along the same lines as time saving, a mentor help you to avoid making mistakes that perhaps he or she did at the beginning, or a mentor may have a better overall understanding of the work and can foresee things that maybe you can't yet. I know when I was first hired as a children, youth, and family minister years ago, I invited a number of very experienced people who had been doing that job for years. I invited them out for lunch and I asked them for advice. And what I learned in that lunch meeting was invaluable in my new role. And I knew that I could call on those people when I had a question or when I had a challenge. I would be able to email them or text them or phone them and have a conversation and ask about what the best practice was in the new role that I was in. In the podcasting realm, I spent 2 years in a high-level mastermind group with one of the industry's gurus, Cliff Ravenscraft, who is the podcast answer man, and he mentored a whole group of us through the ins and outs of creating a successful podcast. And those conversations were twice a month. They were intentional. They were an hour and a half. And they were exceedingly helpful. They made a big difference in my even continuing to do this all these years later. So I have found mentors in all of the jobs that I have held in all of my careers. I have found people to call upon, to seek advice from, to ask wisdom of, and I have found myself being in that same position. And I'm going to talk about being a mentor a little bit later. The third tip that I have for you as to why I think everyone needs a mentor, why you might need a mentor, is that a mentor offers an objective look at your situation from an insider's point of view. When you're new, either to an organization or to a role within an organization that maybe you've been at for a while, having someone who has been around for longer than you have been can have what is known in leadership as a balcony view of what's going on. I think this is a Ron Heifetz analogy, is the analogy of leadership. Getting up on the balcony every once in a while can be of very good benefit. Sometimes if we are too involved, too close to the situation, too wrapped up in what is happening immediately around us, it can be hard to see beyond the dance floor to what might be happening around and beyond your small corner. And so having somebody able to get up on the balcony and say, I can see this coming. I can see that this is where you've been. I can see that this is where you're going. Maybe you want to change courses. Something like that. An experienced mentor can see that big picture, can have an overview of things, and can often see whatever situation you need help with from a more objective viewpoint. So the idea is to test out your worries and your wonderings with your mentor and ask for that objectivity. Because sometimes, I know for me, I can get wrapped up in my own version of the story, and checking things out with a mentor who can see beyond my little version of my story is very, very valuable. An excellent mentor can help guide you through challenges and help you to avoid bigger problems by doing just that for you. So that was number 3. A mentor can offer an objective look at your situation from an insider's point of view. The fourth thing a mentor can do is that they can relate and commiserate. A mentor can relate and commiserate with you. It can be exhausting and it can be lonely to be new in a job or position. And for example, if you're moving up the chain of command into a management or a leadership position in your organization, it can be really comforting to have someone to talk to who has had similar experience and who knows the system. Knows the lingo, knows the jargon, knows the people, and knows the organization. A mentor can provide support in ways that your friends and your loved ones can't, unless they too happen to work in the very same organization or industry. Sometimes all it takes is to have someone to listen, someone who is on the inside of the system, not necessarily to fix things for you, but to just understand, to be able to relate, to be able to commiserate, and to be able to walk with you. And there's comfort in knowing that you're not alone, especially if the going gets tough. So a good mentor can relate and can commiserate. The fifth tip is that a mentor can explain patterns and trends and history. When you're new, it's helpful to hear about what happened in the past and how it relates to what is happening now. I remember being a new employee in an organization and feeling completely confused and concerned about the sudden and unusual and unhelpful behavior of a particular individual until I was assured by someone who knew this person and who had been there for many years that this behavior was a pattern and that the person would settle down and get back to being productive in short order, and that I would figure out eventually that this rather unsettling behavior was actually a pattern in this person's behavior, in this person's world, and that there was a history to this same pattern repeating itself over and over and over again. And it actually wasn't personal. It wasn't about me at all. It was something to do with that person. It was very helpful to know that, and then to be able to stop worrying that this behavior had resulted from something I had inadvertently said or done. And sure enough, the pattern held, and I was able to see that, but I was able to relax in the meantime. Another advantage to having a mentor who has been around for a while is that there are some historical events that could be of note, especially if you're trying to innovate, or you're trying to solve a problem you encounter, or you're trying to create something. Maybe you're planning an event or a meeting, or you're going to try a new system, or whatever it happens to be. An advantage of having somebody around who has the history could be that person might say, this happened once before 8 years ago, and here's what happened then, and this is what we did, and this is what you might try differently. So having that kind of knowledge, that kind of history, the pattern, the background, can help you save lots of time and can help you move forward faster in the work that you're doing if you're not repeating something that's already not worked in the history of the organization. That can be absolutely invaluable information for you when you're starting something new. The sixth thing is that a mentor can help you set, aim, and achieve workplace goals, which will advance your career. A mentor can be the person to hold you accountable, or the person that you yourself will hold yourself accountable to as far as your goals go. So if you take some time to set some career or some workplace goals, and then share these goals with your mentor, you'll have someone who's going to ask you about how you're doing toward reaching those goals, and who may even give you a gentle nudge in the right direction if you're not progressing well. I have had mentors that I didn't want to disappoint, so I made sure that I worked hard to meet the deadlines and produce what I said I would produce in order to be able to report to that mentor that I had met my goals thanks to their influence. So the mentor might not even be aware that they're having this effect on you, and that's okay. But just having them there can actually be motivating and can help you to plan and to aim for goals, to aim for results. You know, we talk about being results oriented. Well, you have to get there. You have to get those results. So a mentor can help you plan, can help you set some goals, and then can help keep you accountable as you work towards achieving those goals. And that's a very, very important part of career advancement. The seventh thing that I can offer you is that a mentor can offer you perspective and help you to make solid decisions. This is similar to the idea of relating and commiserating and offering objectivity. A good mentor can share perspective and can be the perfect person to bounce ideas off of, to brainstorm with, to ask opinions of. Sometimes there might be factors that you haven't thought of that a mentor might offer, and again, that information can be invaluable. So those are the 7 reasons why having a mentor in your career life can really help you to advance your career. I see no disadvantages as long as this person is honest with their advice and is intent on helping you to succeed. You have to trust your mentor or the whole thing doesn't work. And so finding someone might take a while. It needs to be someone that you feel you can trust, that you respect, that you want to learn from. And so look around in your organization. Who is successful? Who is someone who you think would be generous with their time and their information? And then finding a mentor and asking them, would you mind if once in a while I sat down with you and bounced some ideas off you, had some questions for you, ask you for your advice? It's flattering in some ways, and it's important that you ask intentionally someone to be your mentor, and ask them if they would mind sharing their wisdom and helping you. And most people don't mind at all and actually are happy to help you succeed and help guide you in your own career, as they've been doing it for quite some time. What about you? Are you someone who has been in your work for a while and who might want to mentor someone else? I'm going to look at why you might want to be a mentor right after this.
You've updated your resume, you've sent it out, and you've been selected for an interview. Congratulations! And now you want to get ready, really ready. This is where Careers by Jen can help. We have a comprehensive online course called How to Ace a Job Interview When You Haven't Interviewed in a Long Time. This video-based course is jam-packed with information, advice, and exercises to help you get completely prepared to walk into an interview situation with confidence. From exactly what to prepare in advance, to how to answer common questions, to what questions you might ask the interviewer, and so much more, this course is designed to get you ready. Visit careersbyjen.com and click on Training Resources to see the curriculum, preview a couple of the introductory lessons, and see what others who have taken the course are saying about it. Visit careersbyjen.com and get ready to ace your next interview.
So why might you want to be a mentor? Well, first of all, it's very rewarding to be able to help someone get started or help someone get to where they want to be. And that's why I do what I do here at Careers by Jen. One of the best things ever for me is to see someone step into their success. It's why I love teaching, why I have spent many, many years, even before I was teaching in the healthcare system, I was always happy to have students and to be a preceptor in the hospital system as a nursing unit clerk, because I enjoyed helping someone else learn how to do the work that I was doing. And so that's when I got interested in figuring out how to teach the program after I had had some students as a worker that I had to onboard and help train. And then I went to school and took all of the training to become a teacher in the program and began teaching way back in the early 1990s, and began teaching at the post-secondary level and helping people to learn and to feel confident in what they did. And that kind of thing, I just have a passion for that, for helping people help themselves, and still do, which is why I've been doing this podcast since 2011, and why I have online courses that are designed to help people. And that's why I coach, is to help people help themselves advance and reach goals and become the best they can be. So it's if you have that helping bent to your personality, if you have a lot of experience in your profession, and if you have information to share, then it's very, very rewarding. Why not take someone who wants a mentor under your wing and help them? The important thing to remember about being a mentor, well, there's a couple of things. One of them is that the person that you are mentoring has to want to be mentored. It doesn't work if the parties aren't both willing. So it's one thing to go over and offer unsolicited advice. that may not be appreciated. It might be, but it may not be. So it's important, if you see yourself as a formal mentor, to offer that in a formal way to someone who maybe hasn't even thought that they needed a mentor. And if they say no, then they're not the right person to be mentored by you. So make sure that it is something that is desired on the part of the person that you are mentoring, and that you ask in a formal way, would you like me to take time every once in a while to sit down with you and show you the ropes or help you out? That is important, to set that as an intention and do it in a consenting way. Another important thing to remember is to let the mentee, or the person that you are mentoring, come up with their own goals and their own objectives, and in many cases their own solutions. So as a mentor, your job is more to coach, to guide, and to be a sounding board. But what your job is not is to be the boss of that person, because we all need to learn and make our own mistakes to a certain extent. We can avoid major mistakes if we have the help of a mentor, but sometimes we have to try things out. Sometimes we have to test things out. And it's okay to ask for guidance. It's okay to ask for advice, but it's also important to be able to do things ourselves in our own way, knowing that we've got a backup, knowing that we've got someone there we can ask for help from along the way. So it works better. Mentorship works so much better if you allow the person you're mentoring to learn from your very good questions and from your good observations and gentle guidance. It works less well if you're prescribing exactly what they should do. And so it's a delicate thing. It's more about, like when I'm coaching, I use what's called solution-focused coaching, and I ask people really good questions to allow my coaching clients to come up with their own conclusions and their own goals and their own objectives, and to help them figure out what they need rather than telling them what they need, because I'm not them. So coaching involves drawing out from the client themselves everything that they need. And so it involves really strategic and careful questioning. And mentorship is kind of like that. And there are ways to ask really good open-ended questions that will invite reflection from the person that you are coaching or mentoring. So there are whole programs out there on how to learn how to be a good mentor, and maybe one day I'll create one. But it's a lot of intuition, and there are certain key elements to walking with someone rather than bossing them around, which isn't very productive and doesn't work so well. So mentorship is an actual thing. You can take courses on it. There are books on it and programs on how to do it. And a lot of it is intuitive. So you may already be doing it and just haven't named it mentorship in a formal way. If you feel you have gifts and skills and wisdom to offer others, if you notice that people are coming to you for advice anyway, and that you seem to be helping new employees or new people move into new roles in your organization, then you might want to consider offering your time in a more formal, more intentional way to help mentor someone, because maybe you're already doing it and just haven't named it. Sharing is such a gift, both for the one you're helping and for your own learning as well. Because whenever I've been a mentor, and it happens every once in a while, people will phone me up and say, hey, what do you do about this? Or can I ask you for your program about this or your information about this? It happens all the time for me. But every time I've sat with somebody in an intentional way to mentor them, I've learned about myself and I've grown within myself as well. So it's really good all around, both for the person being mentored and the mentor themselves. Next week, I'm taking a break, and there will not be a Careers by Jen episode out until the following Thursday, which is at the start of February. I'm going to let you know why next time, but I'm just wanting you to know that I'm taking a break. The show will be back in February. I've got some interesting guests lined up for you in the coming weeks, so stay tuned for sure. And thank you so much for listening. And shalom. You've been listening to Careers by Jen with Jen Swanson. If you like what you heard, please share this. You know, if every single person listening today shared this episode with just one friend, our audience would be twice as big just like that. And the more people we can help with our content, the better. So help out a friend and help grow our audience by sharing this show with someone you know who would benefit from the content. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that, and together we can make a difference. Until next time, take good care.